Alrighty, here we go. NFL 2023 NFL Draft Day. I wanted to get this out a little bit quicker. This is probably going to be uploaded with like 6.5 hours before the draft starts, which is unfortunate. I wanted to do this yesterday, but I've been doing a lot of different things this week and whatever. But I was trying to think of different ways to do this. And I've come to the conclusion that just doing a live mock draft simulator on profootballnetwork.com is the thing we're going to do here today. I'm not a draft expert by any means. I don't watch as much college football as a lot of the people in my Twitter timeline do, but I studied a lot in terms of looking into some of these players and what the thoughts are of people like Daniel Jeremiah, of people like, Eric Edholm, who I had on multiple times on different draft shows of the past few years, probably 5 or 6 years ago, the first time I ever had him on. He's an NFL.com guy, great guy. Follow him at Eric_Edholm on Twitter, by the way. Other NFL.com guys. I do look at Todd McShay, Mel Kiper Jr. You just got to look into some of the prospects, and you watch some players more than others. And I always like in NFL drafts and really any sport, the NHL is kind of the most I know about a draft because of my, stuff with the hockeywriters.com and, looking into some of the different draft coverage we have there is always great. And I'll be doing an NHL draft podcast with Matthew Zator, the hockeywriters.com in June before the draft. But anyway, and this year's NHL draft has been discussed multiple times on this podcast in various episodes. Most notably the April 16th episode. Recently, we went over a little bit in the playoff episode, but I always like to throw things at the wall with the NFL draft and just guess the top 31 picks and go from there. And I don't know if I'm going to be doing trades with this because I'm doing it fully live right now. But I always like to guess. And my best year was probably 2019, the Kyler Murray, Nick Bosa draft. I had a lot of those picks right in terms of my scale, which is not that many right, but more than usual. And I did well there. This year we're going to see. Feel like I have a pretty good feel for the top 10. I think one thing that could happen in this draft is the offensive tackle class not being as strong and as deep as it usually is. And I don't really think there's a true number one offensive tackle because you have a guy like Peter Skoronski from from Northwestern is a guy that might not be a tackle. He might be a guy that gets kicked inside. Then you have other tackles like Paris Johnson Jr., Darnell Wright, those tackles. So we're going to see. I'm guessing this is based off of profootballnetwork.com. You check out their mock draft simulator. It's really cool. Based off of their rankings and such, trades might arise. I'll mention them. I'm going to have it up on the video version, which I guess I'll upload the video version. I guess I probably should do that. But yeah, this should be interesting. We'll see how many I get right. So that's why trades are always tough because there's going to be first-round trades. It's just about predicting them. And there hasn't been a lot of top 10 trades in the top 10 on draft night in years past. Obviously, this year the number one pick was traded from Chicago to Carolina. And that's where we start. Let's draft. Pulling it up here on the video version. The number one pick, I think the Carolina Panthers take Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama. That is no surprise. By the way, I want to put some pictures in the Substack version of this podcast episode of my draft, just in case people can't listen before the draft and they're like, hey, let's see what this idiot thinks. But anyway, the Texans at 2. I think there's been a lot of smoke screening going on, but I think you don't overthink it. If you're Houston, you have a new coach. You want to energize the fan base a little bit. You take C.J. Stroud, quarterback, Ohio State. I think you don't overthink it here. Davis Mills is your quarterback. You have the number 2 pick. Just dropped my phone and messed something up. Okay. Anyway, you got to take C.J. Stroud, number 2. Number 3, Arizona. I think there's a very good chance that Arizona trades this pick, so we're going to do a mock trade here. We're going to do it with the Tennessee Titans. We're going to have the Titans moving up to number 3. And, they're going to be trading with the Arizona Cardinals. And we're going to do 11 goes to Arizona, 3 goes to Tennessee. We're going to have 41 of Tennessee going to Arizona. And then we're going to have we're going to have a third next year going there as well. So that doesn't mean anything in the scope. We're also going to have a later pick going to the Titans as well. But we're gonna have the Titans. Okay, decline my trade even though I'm controlling every team. Whatever. Yeah, we're gonna try this again. This is live. This is live. We're just gonna overpay to get this done because this is only a first round mock. So we're just gonna kind of mess around here. We're just make sure that we have the fact that 11-3 go by way. It's still not working. Okay. Come on. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so we have Tennessee at number 3 and Arizona to number 11. With the third pick, we're going to have the Tennessee Titans jumping the Indianapolis Colts, but not taking the guy that everybody thinks the Colts are going to take. Anthony Richardson goes number 3 to Tennessee. Ba-boom, right? And we're going to have 4 quarterbacks to start this draft, which would be the shock of the century, but I'm going for it. Why not? Will Levis goes number 4 to Indianapolis. Number 5, this opens the door for Seattle to be like, damn, who would have thought we'd have the chance to take Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, or Tyree Wilson? And I think that they're going to take the guy who's going to be the safest pick, and I think that's Will Anderson Jr., despite the fact that I think Jalen Carter might be the best player in this draft by a lot on the field. But Will Anderson Jr. goes number 5 to Seattle. That leaves Detroit at 6. A lot of buzz about Detroit possibly taking a cornerback. I'm going to go a different direction. They're going to take Jalen Carter. They're going to think he's too good of a player to pass up. Jalen Carter goes number 6 to Detroit. Number 7, we're going to have the first corner off the board. It's going to be Devin Witherspoon out of the University of Illinois. Great tape. This is a guy I watched a lot, obviously being an Illinois guy. In terms of basketball, I'm more of an Oregon guy in football, but I keep a close eye on the Illinois other programs in athletics as well. Witherspoon, really, really good. Physical, screams Raider, I would say. So we're going to have that. Witherspoon at 7. At 8, I think there's a chance that the Falcons surprise people and take Bijan Robinson, the running back out of Texas at 8. And that's what I'm going to go with. Texans take a running back, Bijan Robinson at number 8. A huge pick there. Number 9, the Chicago Bears move from 1 to 9. We're going to have them take best player available. Despite the fact they might need an offensive tackle, they can draft that later. They're going to take Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher out of Texas Tech at 9. Number 10, the Philadelphia Eagles, getting this pick in a different trade with the Dolphins, I believe. No. Yeah. No, I don't know. They got this pick from somewhere. San Francisco. No. I think the Eagles here go Christian Gonzalez, the corner out of Oregon, but I think there's a good chance the Eagles trade this pick as well. So keep an eye for that possibly happening. I think Arizona is going to do the boring thing and take offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. at 11. At 12, you have the Texans already took C.J. Stroud. They're going to go. They're going to take it in a different direction now and go with. We are going to go. We're going to go down the board a little bit for this one, and we're going to say that the Houston Texans select Nolan Smith, edge rusher out of Georgia. This comes to my Green Bay Packers. And if you're watching the video version, you can see my Packers pull over. I wear it every year on draft night. I do live reaction videos to the picks. I get annoyed about it. I will be doing a podcast after each night of the draft, recapping my thoughts on the Packers picks. I've done that for multiple years in a row now. This will be like the 4th year in a row of me doing that. So stay tuned for that. That'll be up on the Substack after each night of the draft. So we're going to have that. I think the Packers at 13, I think on the board right now, I think it would be hysterical if they took Jackson Smith and Jigba, a receiver, in the first draft without Rodgers as their quarterback since 2008 with him as the starter. So that would be funny. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to say that the Packers take Lucas Van Ness, the edge rusher out of Iowa, which I would be fine with that pick, but I do want Smith and Jigba fairly badly, I would say. We're going to get a bit of a run on tackles here. The Patriots are going to select Darnell Wright, the offensive tackle out of Tennessee, and the Jets are going to select Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle out of Georgia. Then we go to the Washington Commanders. They're going to be like, well, we have a great front, maybe improve the secondary a little bit. Let's take Joey Porter Jr., the cornerback out of Penn State. The Steelers, they get a little edge help here, I think. I'm going to say Miles Murphy goes to the Steelers at 17. 18, I think this is an interesting pick now for Detroit. I already took Jalen Carter for them with the first pick, and they're going to go up there and be like, we like our receiver room, but let's maybe add another. And it's trending in the direction that Zay Flowers might be the first receiver off the board here. And, they have Amon-Ra St. Brown there. And then you add Zay Flowers to the mix. That would be good. So Zay Flowers goes 18 to Detroit. The Bucks, Peter Skoronski's been on the board for far too long. The Bucks take him at 19. At 20, the Seahawks like their receiver room, but they could add another player to it. They're going to take Jackson Smith and Jigba at 20. 21, the Chargers, they're going to add a receiver as well. It's going to be Jordan Addison out of USC. The Ravens are going to add a corner opposite of Marlon Humphrey. They're going to add, let's see, we're going to give the Ravens Deontay Banks out of Maryland. 23, the Vikings are also going to add a corner. It's going to be Cam Smith out of South Carolina. At 24, the Jacksonville Jaguars, we're going to have them trade with the Chiefs. So the Chiefs are going to move up in with the draft being in Kansas City. We're going to have the Chiefs and Jags make a trade here. The Chiefs moving up 7 spots to get this deal done. Like I said, we're just going to fudge the numbers here so this gets done. It doesn't matter what it all looks like. So we're going to have – let me just do this here with the Chiefs' point of view. Okay. Chiefs and Jags make a trade, 7-spot jump for the Chiefs. Like I said, just messing around with the numbers at this point. All right. So Chiefs move up to 24, and they make the crowd go wild. They take wide receiver Quentin Johnston out of TCU, another receiver in the room for Mahomes. Win-win, bada bing, bada boom. The Giants, they could use a receiver at 25, and now they're annoyed that the Chiefs just jumped him. They're going to take Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame. The Cowboys are going to go tight end as well. They're going to take a guy who's been compared to Travis Kelce many a times. That's Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. 27, Buffalo. They're going to maybe take a pick that people say that might be a reach, but we're going to say Jalen Hyatt, the wide receiver out of Tennessee. And despite the fact this receiver class doesn't appear to be very strong, according to many experts, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 receivers going in the top 27 picks. We're going to have the Bengals give Brian Branch, the safety out of Alabama, to kind of replace what they're losing in Jesse Bates. Next up, we have 29, the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr in the mix now. They need to get their D-line back on track here, losing Marcus Davenport. We're going to say that they take defensive tackle Kalijah Cansey, who should be a stud, out of Pitt. At 30, the Eagles, we already had the Eagles take Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback out of Oregon. At 10, the Eagles are going to just keep taking those big guys in the middle. They're going to take Brian Breesy, the defensive tackle out of Clemson. And 31, the Jags, after moving back, they're going to go with an interesting pick here. They're just going to take an offensive tackle and be done with it. They're going to take DeJuan Jones. Actually, hang on a sec. I want to see what it says the team needs are for Jacksonville because I want to be a little bit careful here. Tight end, offensive guard, D-tackle. Okay, so we're going to go a different direction, actually. We're going to go, let's see. We're going to go Mozzie Smith out of Michigan with that pick. That's where we're going to go. So, all right, here's the draft. Bryce Young goes 1 to Carolina. C.J. Stroud goes 2 to Houston. In a trade with the Titans, Anthony Richardson goes 3 to Tennessee. Will Levis goes 4 to Indianapolis. Will Anderson Jr. goes 5 to Seattle. Jalen Carter goes 6 to Detroit. Devin Witherspoon goes 7 to the Vegas Raiders. Bijan Robinson, the running back out of Texas, goes 8 to the Falcons. The Bears take Tyree Wilson, edge rusher out of Texas Tech. The Eagles take Christian Gonzalez, Oregon cornerback, at 10. The Cardinals, after the trade with the Titans, at 11, they take Paris Johnson Jr., the offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Nolan Smith goes 12 to the Houston Texans, the edge rusher out of Georgia, edge rusher out of Iowa, Lucas Van Ness goes to the Packers at 13. Darnell Wright, offensive tackle out of Tennessee, goes 14 to the Patriots. Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle out of Georgia, he goes 15 to the Jets. Joey Porter Jr., cornerback out of Penn State, goes 16 to Washington. Miles Murphy, edge rusher out of Clemson, goes 17 to Pittsburgh. Zay Flowers, the first wide receiver off the board out of Boston College, he goes 18 to Detroit. Peter Skoronski, the offensive lineman out of Northwestern, goes 19 to Tampa. Jackson Smith and Jigba goes 20, the Ohio State wide receiver, to Seattle. USC wide receiver Jordan Addison goes 21 to the Chargers. Deontay Banks, corner, Maryland, goes 22 to the Ravens. 23, Cam Smith, cornerback, South Carolina, goes to Minnesota. In a trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Chiefs move up to 24, take Quentin Johnston, wide receiver, TCU. 25, a little run on tight ends here back-to-back. The Giants take Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame. The Cowboys take Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. 27, Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver out of Tennessee, goes to Buffalo. 28, Brian Branch, safety out of Alabama, goes 28 to Cincinnati. 29, Kalijah Cansey, the D lineman out of Pitt, goes 29 to New Orleans. 30, Brian Breesy, defensive tackle, goes to the Eagles. And 31, Mozzie Smith, defensive tackle out of Michigan, goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. There we go, 31 picks with the Dolphins losing their pick to seal the deal there. So that's how that goes. And now we have my 31 pick predictions. We're going to see how many I get right. We'll tally it up. We'll look at the end probably and think about that. In terms of the NFL plans with this podcast, it's called the Ethan Carter Podcast. It's just me throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, different topics everywhere. It's all over the place, and I think that there's probably people that don't listen to every episode. There's probably people that maybe listen to specific ones. We have college basketball coverage on here. We'll have NFL preseason predictions. We'll have preseason predictions in mostly every league. I want to be pretty expansive on the NHL coverage as well. So we'll have draft and free agency stuff for that this summer. Other than that, though, we're just going to play it by ear, I guess. I don't know. But like I said, we'll have pick recaps for the Packers. After each day of the draft, they have the 13th pick tonight. Friday, they have a number of second-round picks and third-round picks overall. I think 3 in 2 rounds, and then they have plenty of picks on day 3, depending on trades. So should be a good time. Make sure to tune in for those. Make sure to check out this podcast and, my predictions here. I'll put the picture in the description if it allows me on the Substack. So check that out. Subscribe to the Substack. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter at Ethan Carter SW. And I'll see you later tonight for the Packers first round recap.